name is Dawn Marie Ikes, and I'm coming to you on behalf of Balanced Body. I am a physical therapist and co-owner of Core Conditioning, Pilates, Physical Therapy, and Gyrotonic. We have 2 locations in Southern California. And today we're going to be looking at lumbo-pelvic stability and an exercise that's specifically designed to help people integrate that back into their bodies, whether it's after a low back injury, a pelvic instability injury, or something as simple as having a baby. So Kelly, I'm going to have you go ahead and stand up and come around into a modified scooter position. We're going to have you line your foot up on the shoulder rest here, and I want your pelvis nice and level. She has 1 red spring on the reformer, and what I'm looking at before we even start the exercise is to make sure that she's got nice alignment through her body. I want her shoulders a little bit more under her hips, a straight line from her ear to her shoulder, from her hip down to her knee before we go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to have you do, Kelly, is I just want you to press the legs straight back without changing the level of your pelvis. Good. And then slowly bring it in without letting your pelvis shift at all. Do about 3 more repetitions of that. And what we're really looking for here is that there's no wavering or moving within the pelvic girdle as she's going into hip extension and then controlling into hip flexion. So oftentimes what you'll see if people have a tight hip flexor on the front is their hip will either hike back and up, or they'll go into a little bit more of an anterior tilt as they try to go into extension because they don't have the range to be able to get that. Good. So now what I'm going to have you do, Kelly, is go ahead and extend the leg out straight. So you always want to warm up first with just that component of the exercise before you begin to add other components to it. So I'm going to have you hold here, and this in and of itself can be a very challenging exercise for many people. Just holding this for maybe 15 to 20 seconds, seeing how they're able to maintain their pelvic stability and alignment, and I'm going to go ahead and have you bring that leg in and rest for about 5 seconds. It's a nice way to start building endurance before you start changing the other components of the exercise. So now we're going to do that. You're going to extend the leg out straight and you're going to hold it there. And now we're going to add the upper extremity. So what I'm going to have you do is reach your left arm out at an angle as well. And just as we did with the leg, we can also just have her hold here, or we can have her come in. So she's going to bring the arm and the leg in at the same time. And exhale as you extend both out, drawing the navel in. You're watching for flaring of the ribs. And come in slowly, and I want you to reach out at the top of the head, and exhale, press out. I'm also looking at what's happening on her pelvis, making sure that she's not starting to waver. Just 2 more times. And sometimes what you'll see is people will look great on the first 2 repetitions, but as they start to fatigue and get a little bit more tired, you'll start to notice different compensations. Go ahead and close your ribs a little bit more. Excellent. And 1 last time. And we're going to bring it in and rest for just a minute. So what this particular segment of the exercise is looking at is really integrating the anterior and the posterior sling systems within the body. And those are basically anatomically related structures that have a functional purpose in pelvic and trunk stability as we go through our functional activities of daily living. So this particular exercise with the alternate arm and leg, so it's the opposite leg and the opposite arm, is working those anterior and posterior oblique sling systems that basically make like a big X across the back and the front of the body. So the next one we're going to do is actually a longitudinal sling system, which is going to focus on just one side of the body. So Kelly, I'm going to have you go ahead and extend your right leg straight out again. Good. Holding it there again, I'm looking for her ribs being closed. I want her pelvis to be nice and stable, and I want her reaching out of the top of the head. And now you're going to extend your right arm out. Hold it. Again, this in and of itself can be an exercise, and you can do timed repetitions. And then slowly come in with the arm and the leg at the same time, maintain this pelvic position, and press straight out. Good. Go ahead and do about 3 more. Shoulder blades down, really reaching out of the top of the head. And you can see she's working very hard. And good. Just 1 more. And press straight out, and slowly come in. Good. And rest. So one of the nice things about this exercise is depending on what body is in front of you, you can really start to look at which components of the exercise have a tendency to be more or less challenging, and then that really starts to play into your treatment plan. So if you pick a particular component, or you see that a particular component is very challenging or difficult for a client, you can do more repetitions of that and maybe less repetitions of the part of it that's very difficult. So thank you for coming to us today, and we hope to see you again next week.